This handout is a great question for students to work on in groups. It sort of explores something that mathematicians like to do in general, where they take a concept that they've thought about in one domain and they try and transfer it over to another domain and see what it means. So in the domain that we thought about before in the last lot of teacher resources, we thought about what parallel means. And parallel, well, it had 3 different definitions that turned out to be equivalent. 1, it meant that 2 lines went in the same direction. 2, it meant that 2 lines never intersected. And 3, it meant that 2 lines were the same distance apart all the way along. All right, and so all 3 of those were the same thing. Well, here, instead of just thinking about lines that go on forever, we're going to restrict ourselves to a sheet of paper, or maybe the screen. And we're only going to be interested in lines on the screen. And so now we might ask ourselves, well, are all these 3 definitions the same? And what the students will discover is that no, they're not. So to use the mathematical parlance, the property of having 2 lines be pretty parallel is not transitive. And what that means is that if I have one line and another line and they're both pretty parallel, then I add in a 3rd line. This 3rd line might be pretty parallel to this one and it might not be pretty parallel to this one. So for instance, I could have one there. Or it could go the other way around. And so the problem here is that pretty parallel doesn't divide all lines up into nice neat groups, or to use the mathematical parlance, equivalence classes. See, when we looked at lines on the plane, they divided up into all the lines that were parallel, all had the same slope. Now in this case, that's just not true. You could get these 2 lines that are pretty parallel, and they might be pretty parallel to any other line in the plane, but that line might not be pretty parallel to one of them. And so frankly, this is why you have never heard of pretty parallel, because I just made the concept up. But it's a great exploration for students to do, to sort of take that concept that they knew about and put it in a new context and see if they could make sense of it. And actually, even better than that, you see that sometimes when you try and take a concept over and move it into a new context, it doesn't work. And that's exactly what we've done here. So pretty parallel, not a very useful concept, but the struggle to sort of think about it, that's valuable. So let your students do it.